James is driving recklessly. Suddenly, a truck comes in front of him, but he somehow manages to save himself. But in the process, he knocks over a girl's luggage. He immediately gets out of his car and offers to help. Just then, her bus comes, but she very well knows that she won't be able to catch it, and the bus leaves eventually. James feels bad and asks her about where she's going. She shows him a place and says that it's Silent Hill. There is a beautiful hotel called Lakeview, and she was going there. He offers to drop her off, and she finally agrees. She introduces herself as Mary. They start loading the luggage into his car when suddenly a dark cloud fills the sky. Mary says that it's a Silent Hill summer storm, and it only happens when someone is visiting the town. James wakes up drunk inside a bar. The waiter comes there and says that he needs to leave as he is extremely drunk. He refuses to do so and ends up in a fight, but the bouncer eventually throws him out. He gets a call from his psychologist as he has missed their meeting. She says that he can't fall out of his routine and asks him to come for a session the next day. He gets back to his lonely apartment, and the reminders of his past start to haunt him. Suddenly, he notices a letter addressed to him there. He opens it and finds that it's from Mary, who has requested him to come to Silent Hill and save her. He immediately runs out, but there's no one in the entrance. He drives his car and heads for Silent Hill, but he is disappointed to find the road blocked due to safety concerns. He pulls over to the place where they first met. Memories from the past come rushing back about how they fell in love. He woke up the next morning inside the car. He gets out and goes to a washroom nearby. He sees his devastated condition in the mirror. He reads the letter again and figures out where he might find her. He then starts to walk through the dense forest in order to reach Silent Hill. On the way, he meets a disheveled woman who asks him to carry a sack for her. He does so and asks why Silent Hill is in ruins. She says that there was a fire in the woods, and the ashes have polluted the air and turned everything into poison. James says that he's looking for someone, but the woman immediately stops her and says that he will not find her. He is taken aback, but she says that the water is contaminated and there's no one left behind. He says that he will still take his chance and will go there. She says that her name is Angela, and if he's unable to find her, then he can come back to her. James remembers when he picked up the conversation about moving in together with Mary. She says that there are parts of her that he hasn't seen, and if he finds those out, he will leave her. But he disagrees and says that nothing can ever make him separate from her. In the present, he finally reaches Silent Hill. The city is in complete ruins and filled with abandoned houses. He screams to know if anyone's there but gets no reply. He walks inside a tunnel and finds someone sleeping on the pavement. He slowly approaches the person, but suddenly, static noise comes from a radio. The man suddenly grabs him and says that they are coming. James gets out of there immediately and gets a call from his psychologist. He tells her that he is in Silent Hill. He says that something really bad happened there and he needs to save Mary. But the woman says that he is spiraling and needs to come back right now. Just then James notices something and cuts the call. He walks towards a nightclub that he has been in before. The homeless man crawls out of the tunnel, but soon a horrifying creature named Handless comes there and attacks him. James remembers the first time he met Mary's friend in the same club. They tell him that Mary's father Joshua built this town. They were lost, but Joshua helped them find a purpose in life, and soon James will also find it and become one of them. It creeped out James, but he didn't say anything. He runs out and finds the homeless man melting to the bones. The radio in his hand starts making static again. Handless comes towards him and spits acid, but James manages to save himself. He throws a metal rod at him, and it immediately hides under a secret tunnel. He hears an emergency notice on the radio from the authorities requesting residents of Silent Hill to leave as soon as possible. It's not safe anymore, and just then the handless creatures start to appear there again. The environment starts to change, and it becomes night in a flash. He immediately starts running but trips and falls on the road. Suddenly, he sees some strange spider-like creatures attacking a mouse. Soon, hundreds of them come out of a sewer and start to fill the city. James runs from there to save his life and breaks through a fence. He gets inside an apartment and shuts the door behind him, prohibiting the creatures from entering. He looks around the apartment and recalls that this is the apartment they moved into together. He walks around the apartment but has become unrecognizable after the tragedy. He finally reaches a room and finds multiple DVDs with different dates marked in it. Suddenly, a static noise starts to play, and he starts to lose his mind. He immediately calls a psychologist and tells her that he can't bear it anymore. He says that Mary is very close to her, but before she can understand anything, The call gets disconnected. James gets out on the balcony and decides to climb up to the floor above. The psychologist calls the authorities and asks them to check on James. She believes that he is slowly losing it and might become dangerous to himself. He gets up on the floor above and finds a mannequin covered with moths inside. It has one of Mary's dresses on it. He then goes ahead and finds a bunch of souvenirs kept on a shelf. It's the same room where they used to stay together. He remembers one day he got back home but couldn't find Mary. He saw her inside a room with her friends. They seemed to be doing some kind of ritualistic practice. But once they saw him, they immediately stopped, and everyone left without saying anything. James is frustrated as these people keep showing up at their apartment and performing weird practices. But Mary supported them by saying that they are her family, as they were the ones who took care of her after her father's passing. He also notices a shrine that they have created with his father's statue inside. Mary asks him to dismiss it, but suspicion keeps on growing in his head about what he is dealing with. The statue is still there and present. He also finds a prescription for Mary being admitted to Brookhaven Hospital. Just then, he hears a coughing noise coming from outside and goes to check. He finds a man violently puking in a room. His name is Eddie, and he asks about why James isn't also infected like everyone else. James has no answer to that, and he tells Eddie that he is going to the hospital to look for somebody. Eddie starts to laugh menacingly and says that no one is alive in the city. The outbreak was so violent that no one was able to escape, and he shows James his own rotting arm. He asks James if he gets weird dreams that drag him to Silent Hill. But before he can answer, James hears a child's voice coming from outside. Both of them follow a voice and reach another passage. They find a girl hiding in a corner and say that her name is Laura. James says that it's not safe for her to stay alone there. He asks her to come with him, but the moment she tries to do so, they hear that noise again. They also hear a growl coming from inside, and Eddie suggests that they leave immediately. James refuses to leave without her, but soon they hear a monster approaching. Laura runs back inside and Edie kicks him, stating that both of them are going to die because of him. Soon, the treacherous monster of Silent Hill, named Pyramid Head, comes there. James somehow manages to run away from there, but soon comes across a body that seems to be of Mary's, but soon the body starts to transform and changes into those spider-like creatures. James immediately runs away from there and goes to another room to hide. He sees from a crack in the wall that the creature has entered the room. But soon Pyramid Head comes there and both of them engage in a fight. But Pyramid Head is way too strong and smashes the creature to death. He soon also finds James as well and gets ready to kill him. But the siren goes off again and it affects both of them to scream in agony, resulting in James fainting. James wakes up in a room alone and goes out. He finds Angela lying alone in another room. She says that she warned him not to come. She says that Mary isn't alive, and he needs to leave as soon as possible and shouldn't cause more chaos. James runs away and finds Laura sitting outside. Laura says that Pyramid Head wasn't able to get to her, and she managed to run away from there. James notices a teddy in her hands, which seems recognizable. She says that Mary gave it to her and runs from there. He runs behind her as well and reaches a maze, but soon loses track of her. Just then, a woman appears there, and she looks exactly like Mary. She introduces herself as Maria and says that both of them should try to leave this place together. James refuses to do so, as his girlfriend is in the hospital. She says that no one in Silent Hill is alive, but he is adamant. She finally agreed to look for Mary with him. Both of them walk together, and Maria tells him that she has been there for weeks. Just then, the siren goes off again, and James asks her to hide immediately. Armless comes out of his hiding and starts to walk around. James says that every time the sirens go off, the creatures will start appearing again. They start their journey again and reach the hospital. He recalls that he saw Mary being taken by her friends there in the past. He followed them secretly and reached a secret passage. He heard some chanting and followed the voice. Maria and James finally reach the hospital, but it's in complete ruins. He starts to look through the papers, and Maria asks him about when he last saw his girlfriend. But he has no answer for that, as he has forgotten everything. Maria goes out for some air. James can't find anything useful, so he goes out. He goes to another room and sees that Maria has found out Mary's diagnosis tape. Maria says that there was a man named Joshua who was running a cult in Silent Hill. And even after he died, his followers were worshiping him like some sort of deity. She has figured out that Mary is her daughter. James recalls what he saw that day. He followed her. She was being sacrificed by the group. He screamed to help her, but no one heard his cries. She was then taken to the crowd as they started to eat her soul. Soon, the siren goes off again, and the room starts to transform. Night falls, and both of them try to make their way out of there. They reach another room and find all the nurses frozen. But soon the bodies start to move, and they run out of there as well. They reach an elevator, but it's not working. James starts to fight them, but one of them manages to get ahead and stabs her. Soon, the elevator starts working, and they manage to secure themselves inside. He takes her to another room and starts to tend to her wound as she is bleeding terribly. Maria says that she knows she looks like Mary, and that's the reason he is still with her. He says that he needs to go and look for her. She says that this time, if he doesn't find her, then they will leave this place together and start fresh. He meets Laura again and asks her about Mary's whereabouts. But she instead shows him her teddy that has turned into a demented baby. She says that all of it happened because he left her alone. She runs from there, and he follows her as well. He reaches another room, but Laura locks her from outside. Suddenly, a bed comes flying over his head. A strange creature appears there and reaches out to him. Laura says that he isn't ready yet, and he should only come back once he is fully committed. The creature then slowly puts its hand inside James's mouth, but he suddenly gets up inside a hospital. The nurse says that he is in Silent Hill Hospital as they found him lying on the road unconscious. His psychologist appears there as well, and he tells her that he knows where Mary is. She replies that Mary is dead and happened right in front of him. He needs to finally accept the fact and move on. He recalls the last day of his relationship. Mary got back, and he asked her to leave immediately. She had no idea what he was talking about, but he said that he followed her and saw everything with his own eyes. He asks her how long this has been going on, and she says since childhood. He says that they need to leave, but she says that she can't. He is disgusted by her, and she can feel it. She says that she was leaving Silent Hill that day, but then she met him, and he made her stay there. He promised her that he would never leave her, but James says that he can't take this anymore and leaves from there. On his way, he sees all the people who are still trapped inside the place. Back in present, the psychologist says that James is suffering from severe PTSD after losing Mary. A couple of days passed, and James told her that Mary died because he abandoned her. But she says that he is just blaming himself, and there is nothing that he could have done. Suddenly, he notices a couple of moths outside the window, and he slowly gets transported back to Silent Hill again. Maria is there, and she says that it's time for them to leave together as promised. She kisses him and says that they can stay there together as well. But he abruptly gets up and starts walking, and Maria follows him. Both of them get inside an elevator, and she tries to convince him that he can be free from all this pain if he just lets her go. But he pays no attention to her and walks out of the elevator. He walks through a maze and says that she's just her imagination and needs to go. The siren goes off again, and Pyramid Head appears there. He stabs Maria to death. He falls unconscious and remembers how he started to drink after the breakup. He then gets up again in front of the burning hospital. He walks inside and finds Laura there. She asks him if he's ready now, and he says yes. She then asks him to remember Mary. He gets a flashback of her grave, and Mary's real name is Mary Angela Laura Crane. He figures that all the women there are simply a version of Mary. He immediately runs out and goes to another room. Angela is sitting there and says that he will never let her leave. James tries to help her, but a hand comes from underneath and starts to pull her down. James doesn't let go of her, and he gets pulled inside as well. He sees Angela being violently attacked by a creature. He slowly reaches out to her and apologizes for leaving her. She bursts into flame, and her soul finally gets free. He then sees Mary running and follows her. He reaches the rooftop and finds a dead body covered. He remembers the last time he went to meet Mary in the hospital. She is on her deathbed, and he apologizes to her for leaving. Mary says that he had nothing to do with it. She tried to protect him, but failed at that as well. Her father has been poisoning her since she was a kid. He tries to help her, but she is too far down to be saved. She asks him to put an end to her misery, but he refuses to do so. She says that she can feel her father inside, and she just wants to be free now. James loves her enough and finally kills her, setting her soul free from all the torment. The bed rises in the air, and Mary slowly takes a form. She then approaches James and embraces him. He regrets it now and believes that he should have stuck with her back then. Moths cover them from everywhere, and he finally finds Mary's body, and her soul is free. He takes her body and puts it inside his car. He then jumps off a cliff and falls into the water. He grabs her hand and says that this time he won't let go of her. He wakes up in the first scene and meets Mary again. Just like before, he helps her pick up her stuff. She is ready to board the bus again, but he drops her stuff, forcing her to miss it. He then offers to drop her off. She introduces herself, but he already knows her name, leaving her shocked. She gets in his car, and this time they go back to the city, leaving Silent Hill behind forever. You were watching a recap of the 2026 film Return to Silent Hill. Hit the like button if you have enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel and get notified about our next video. Till then, you may also like this.